The invasion. Commander Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, flagship of the Galactic Alliance's Third Fleet. Her silver uniform gleamed under the harsh lights, adorned with medals and insignia that spoke of numerous successful campaigns. Through the massive viewport, the blue-green planet called Earth rotated slowly against the black canvas of space, oblivious to the armada gathering above it. "Status report," Voss commanded, her voice cool and measured. Lieutenant Krek, a Vordarian with gray skin and 6 fingers on each hand, approached with a data tablet. "All systems optimal, Commander. Planetary defense analysis complete. Their technology is primitive, chemical propellants, rudimentary nuclear capabilities, no orbital defenses of note. Their communication systems have been monitored. They remain unaware of our presence thanks to our cloaking technology." Voss nodded, satisfaction evident in her amber eyes. This would be an easy victory to add to her already impressive record. The Alliance had conquered hundreds of worlds across 12 galaxies, bringing them under the banner of civilization and progress. Earth would be just another footnote in the Alliance's grand history. 3 days earlier, the Galactic Senate had convened in its grand chamber on Nexus Prime. Representatives from over 10,000 worlds filled the vast auditorium, their varied physiologies creating a tapestry of galactic diversity. Supreme Senator Thel Khan, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate exoskeleton, had addressed the assembly. "Before us is proposal GAE 7729 regarding the primitive world designated Earth. Our scouts report a planet rich in resources with a developing species that has shown remarkable technological growth in the last century. The Strategic Resources Committee recommends immediate annexation before they advance further." Only Senator Jen of the Archivists had voiced concern. "The humans of Earth show unusual patterns. Our preliminary studies suggest they possess exceptional adaptability and resilience. I recommend further study before." "Further study?" interrupted Senator Malax, his tentacles waving dismissively. "They still kill each other over arbitrary land boundaries and invisible deities. They're centuries from being a galactic concern." The vote was swift. 89% in favor of annexation. Earth would join the Alliance, willingly or not. Now, Commander Voss prepared to execute those orders. As was customary, diplomatic vessels had been sent first, carrying the Senate's demands. None had returned, which was unusual even for primitive species. "The humans must have detained our envoys," Voss told her officers. "This constitutes an act of aggression against the Alliance and justifies immediate military action." She turned to her tactical officer. "Target a small coastal settlement, something remote enough to minimize collateral damage, but significant enough to demonstrate our power." The targeting systems locked onto a small town on the eastern coast of the landmass called North America, a peaceful place named Bayview Cove, population approximately 5,000. "Fire when ready," Voss ordered. From the Indomitable, a beam of concentrated energy lanced toward Earth. From space, it appeared as nothing more than a flash of light, followed by a small plume of dust. But Commander Voss knew what had happened. Bayview Cove no longer existed. "Send the message again," she ordered. "Inform Earth's leaders that the Galactic Alliance requires their immediate and unconditional surrender. Tell them the next target will be considerably larger." On Earth, in what remained of Bayview Cove, Nathan Shaw crawled through the smoking ruins of what had been his home just moments before. His hands were bleeding, his face streaked with ash and tears. He had been walking along the beach when the light came, a sudden, blinding flash that had obliterated everything in its path. His home, his neighbors, his wife Elena, all gone in an instant. After hours of desperate searching, Nathan finally stopped. He sat amid the devastation, looking up at the sky with eyes that suddenly seemed much older than his 40 years. In the distance, sirens wailed as emergency vehicles raced toward the destruction. Nathan knew what had happened. Before settling in Bayview Cove, before meeting Elena, he had been someone else entirely. For 15 years, he had served in a classified division of Earth's Defense Forces, a unit so secret that fewer than 20 people knew of its existence. But that wasn't the whole truth. The full truth was known to even fewer. He had been called the Sentinel, Earth's greatest defender in a war that humanity never knew was happening. His true combat record wasn't against human adversaries, but against the scouts and advance forces of various alien powers testing Earth's defenses. For 15 years, he had fought in shadows, ensuring Earth remained beneath the notice of the galactic community until humanity was ready. 10 years ago, Nathan had retired. He had met Alina, a brilliant physicist who somehow saw past his carefully constructed facade. Together, they had built a life in Bayview Cove, a normal, peaceful existence far from the shadows and secrets of his former life. Now, that life was ashes. Nathan rose slowly, brushing dust from his clothes. His movements had changed, more deliberate, more precise. From his pocket, he removed a device that resembled an ordinary smartphone, but was anything but. He pressed a sequence of buttons, and the screen illuminated with symbols no human language could account for. Authentication. Sentinel, he said quietly. Status. Active. Earth is under attack. Alina is gone. For a moment, there was silence. Then a response came, not in English or any human tongue, but in a language Nathan understood perfectly. Authentication confirmed. The Alliance? They finally come. Yes, Nathan replied. Full-scale invasion force from what I can tell. At least one capital ship, probably more. The fools, the voice responded. They don't know, do they? Nathan didn't answer immediately. He was already walking toward what appeared to be an ordinary boathouse near the shoreline. Inside, beneath a hidden panel in the floor, lay equipment and weapons no Earth government had on record. I need to reactivate the network, Nathan finally said, and I'll need access to the defenses. All systems have been maintained as per your instructions, the voice confirmed. The Watchers have honored their agreement with you. We've kept Earth safe in your absence. Above Earth, Commander Voss waited confidently for humanity's surrender. She did not know that deep beneath Earth's surface, in hidden facilities scattered across the planet, ancient defensive systems far beyond current human technology were powering up. She did not know that signals were being sent to distant corners of the galaxy, to beings who had once fought alongside the human known as the Sentinel. Most critically, she did not know that she had just committed the greatest tactical error in the Alliance's history. In a dimly lit tavern on the mining world of Helios IV, veteran mercenary Drav slammed his drink down with such force that the metallic table dented. The news played on a holographic display showing Earth under attack. Those idiots, Drav growled, his reptilian features contorted in disbelief. They actually attacked Earth. Beside him, Lonnie, a former Alliance operative with distinctive blue skin and luminescent patterns, looked equally shocked. They can't possibly know what they've done. The tavern owner, a multi-limbed being named Garx, leaned over. It's just humans, barely space-capable primitives. Why do you two look so worried? Drav and Lenny exchanged glances. They killed his wife, Lenny said quietly. Whose wife? Asked a young Alliance officer seated nearby, his pristine uniform marking him as a recent graduate from the academy. Drav turned slowly. Nathan Shaw, the human they call the Sentinel. The young officer laughed. The what? Sounds like a children's bedtime story. I wish it were, Drav said. He pulled aside his collar to reveal a scar that ran from his neck down beneath his clothing. Got this fighting alongside Shaw 15 years ago. Proxima Station. We were surrounded by Hive forces. Command abandoned us. Then Shaw appeared. Lani continued, her luminescence dimming as she recalled the memory. One human, minimal armor, using those primitive projectile weapons they favor. That's impossible, the young officer scoffed. 3 hours later, 78 Hive warriors dead, Drav said flatly. Shaw didn't even have a scratch. Other patrons were listening now. An old pilot with translucent skin joined in. I transported him once. He was hired to extract a diplomat from the Kyrian Empire. Their entire royal guard was hunting him. What happened? Someone asked. The pilot's skin rippled with the equivalent of a shudder. He disabled 6 elite guards with nothing but a writing implement from Earth. A pen, he called it. The young officer still looked doubtful. If he's so dangerous, why haven't I heard of him? Because, said a new voice, deeper than the others, the Alliance classified everything about him. They turned to see Admiral Vora, retired for 8 years, standing in the doorway. Her uniform was old but immaculate, her eyes sharp despite her advanced age. Shaw worked for us after the Proxima incident, Vora said, walking slowly into the tavern. For operations no one else would touch. The current Senate doesn't know. The current command doesn't know. They think Earth is just another primitive world. And now they've killed his wife. Drav repeated grimly. Vora nodded solemnly. Elena Shaw. I met her once. Brilliant woman. She was the reason he retired, the only thing that gave him peace. The news display changed to show more images. Alliance ships in Earth orbit, troops preparing to land. A reporter spoke excitedly about the swift annexation underway. How bad will it be? Garx asked, multiple arms nervously polishing glasses. Vora looked at the display. Do you know why some call them the Sentinel? It's not just a designation. On Earth, a Sentinel is a guardian, a protector who stands watch. For 15 years, Shaw protected Earth from the shadows. He had rules then. Limits. She sat heavily on a stool. Now, I'm not sure those limits exist anymore. I saw him once, said a quiet voice from the corner. Everyone turned to see Ambassador Trell, her age evident in her translucent skin. After the Orion conflict, 200 of our best operatives failed to stop the insurgency. They sent Shaw alone. What happened? The young officer asked, no longer smiling. 3 days later, the conflict ended. No demands, no negotiations, just silence. Trell's voice was barely above a whisper. I saw the records before they were sealed. I still have nightmares. Drav stood suddenly. We should warn them. The Alliance doesn't know what they've started. I tried, Vora said. I sent messages to the Senate. They dismissed me as a paranoid old soldier past her prime. The tavern's communication system chimed. Garx checked it, then looked up in surprise. It's a general broadcast from Earth, he said, activating the receiver. A familiar voice filled the room. This is Shaw. The Alliance has attacked Earth. They killed Elena. Drav and Lenny stood immediately. Other patrons, mercenaries, retired soldiers, smugglers, rose as well. We're coming, Drav said simply. On Earth, deep in a hidden facility beneath what had been Bayview Cove, Nathan Shaw prepared. Around him lay weapons and technology no human government knew existed. On screens, he watched as Alliance forces established footholds, confident in their technological superiority. Nathan placed a photo of Elena on his workbench. Her smile now preserved only in images. He touched it gently, then turned to his arsenal with cold determination in his eyes. Across the galaxy, beings who knew the name the Sentinel were already moving, heading toward Earth. Some came to help. Others simply wanted to be far away when the storm broke. The Galactic Alliance had made a fatal error. They had awakened Earth's guardian, and now they would learn why those who knew him had called him the Sentinel. Retribution. Commander Ilara Voss frowned at the holographic display hovering above the command table. Something was wrong. The invasion of Earth should have been proceeding smoothly, a textbook operation against a pre-interstellar civilization. Instead, reports of unexpected resistance were filtering in from multiple landing zones. Explain this, she demanded, pointing at a red cluster on the tactical map. Captain Jex, her second in command, cleared his throat uncomfortably. Our third landing party in the region designated Siberia has gone silent, Commander. All communication ceased approximately 20 minutes ago. Cause: Unknown. Their last transmission mentioned unusual weather conditions. Voss's frown deepened. Weather? Our ships are designed to withstand atmospheric conditions 10 times more severe than anything on this planet. Yes, Commander. However, the team reported intense electromagnetic disturbances before contact was lost. This was the fourth such incident in the 12 hours since their demonstration strike. Voss had expected Earth's governments to be in disarray, their military scrambling ineffectively against technology centuries beyond their capability. Instead, Alliance forces were meeting coordinated, effective resistance that seemed impossible for Earth's technological level. And this, she asked, indicating another anomaly on the map, this one near the site of their initial strike. Jex hesitated. We've lost orbital mapping capability for this entire region. Something is interfering with our sensors. Voss straightened, her amber eyes narrowing. Deploy the 6th Battalion to investigate. Full combat readiness. Across the command bridge, officers exchanged nervous glances. The 6th Battalion was comprised of elite shock troops, typically reserved for high-risk engagements against advanced civilizations. Do you believe that's necessary for primitives, Commander? Jex ventured. Part 2. Retribution. Commander Ilara Voss frowned at the holographic display hovering above the command table. Something was wrong. The invasion of Earth should have been proceeding smoothly, a textbook operation against a pre-interstellar civilization. Instead, reports of unexpected resistance were filtering in from multiple landing zones. Explain this, she demanded, pointing at a red cluster on the tactical map. Captain Jex, her second in command, cleared his throat uncomfortably. Our third landing party in the region designated Siberia has gone silent, Commander. All communication ceased approximately 20 minutes ago. Cause: unknown. Their last transmission mentioned unusual weather conditions. Voss's frown deepened. Weather? Our ships are designed to withstand atmospheric conditions 10 times more severe than anything on this planet. Yes, Commander. However, the team reported intense electromagnetic disturbances before contact was lost. This was the fourth such incident in the 12 hours since their demonstration strike. Voss had expected Earth's governments to be in disarray, their militaries scrambling ineffectively against technology centuries beyond their capability. Instead, Alliance forces were meeting coordinated, effective resistance that seemed impossible for Earth's technological level. And this, she asked, indicating another anomaly on the map, this one near the site of their initial strike. Jex hesitated. We've lost orbital mapping capability for this entire region. Something is interfering with our sensors. Voss straightened, her amber eyes narrowing. Deploy the 6th Battalion to investigate. Full combat readiness. Across the command bridge, officers exchanged nervous glances. The 6th Battalion was comprised of elite shock troops, typically reserved for high-risk engagements against advanced civilizations. Do you believe that's necessary for primitives, Commander? Jex ventured. Voss didn't answer immediately. Her instincts, honed over decades of successful campaigns, were sending warning signals. Something about this operation felt wrong. Execute the order, she said finally, and prepare my shuttle. I want to personally inspect our forward command post. Deep beneath the surface of what had been Bayview Cove, Nathan Shaw stood before a wall of screens displaying Alliance troop movements. He had shed his civilian identity completely, now dressed in a form-fitting combat suit of unfamiliar material. Around him, a coalition was forming, a strange assembly of beings who had arrived through means that would baffle Earth's scientists. Drav checked his weapons, the reptilian mercenary's scaled hands moving with practiced efficiency. The Alliance has deployed the 6th Battalion. They're starting to take us seriously. Not seriously enough, Nathan replied, his voice devoid of the warmth it had once held. Status of our eastern defensive grid. Lonnie, her blue skin glowing faintly in the dim light, looked up from her console. Fully operational. The cloaking system is holding. They have no idea it exists. Nathan nodded. In the decade of his retirement, the network of allies he had built, the Watchers, as they called themselves, had honored their commitment. They had maintained the advanced defensive systems he had helped establish across Earth, keeping them hidden from both the Alliance and humanity itself. These defenses were remnants of a civilization far older than the Alliance, entrusted to Nathan years ago, when he had saved its last survivors from extinction. Technology that made the Alliance's vaunted weapons look primitive by comparison. Phase 1 is complete, Nathan announced to the assembled group. We've contained their initial landing parties and obscured their intelligence gathering. Phase 2 begins now. On a screen, schematics of Alliance vessels appeared, rotating slowly to show vulnerable points. Tarek, is your team in position? A holographic figure appeared, humanoid but clearly not human, with translucent skin through which complex circulatory systems were visible. We've infiltrated their supply chain as planned, Tarek confirmed. Their security is laughable. They truly believe humans are incapable of resistance. Nathan's face remained impassive. Proceed with the operation. Disable, don't destroy. We need their ships intact. As Tarek's hologram disappeared, an alarm sounded. One of the technicians called out, "Alliance shuttle on approach. High-ranking officer aboard," according to their communications. Nathan moved to a different console, studying the trajectory. Interesting. They're sending someone important to inspect their forward base. A cold smile, the first expression he had shown in hours, crossed his face. Adjust the plan. I think it's time we introduced ourselves properly. Across the room, even hardened warriors like Drav felt a chill at Nathan's expression. The man they had known, controlled, precise, but ultimately guided by a moral code, seemed gone. In his place stood something else entirely, something forged in the fire that had consumed his wife and home. Commander Voss's shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, flanked by 4 fighter escorts. Through the viewport, she observed the planet's surface with clinical detachment. The humans had built sprawling cities, evidence of their industrial capability, but nothing that suggested they could pose a real threat to Alliance forces. Yet the mounting reports of resistance troubled her. The 6th Battalion had reached their target zone but reported finding nothing. No signs of the technology that had blinded their sensors, no evidence of the force that had neutralized their landing parties. As the shuttle approached the forward command post, a hastily established base in what humans called the Rocky Mountains, Voss's communication officer suddenly straightened. "Commander, we're receiving a direct transmission on our secure channel. It's addressed specifically to you." Voss frowned. "Source? Unknown. It's bypassing all our encryption protocols." "Put it through." The shuttle's main display flickered, then resolved into the image of a human male. Average height, with dark hair now streaked with gray, and eyes that seemed to look through Voss rather than at her. "Commander Ilara Voss," the human said, his voice calm and measured. "I am Nathan Shaw. You destroyed my home and killed my wife yesterday. I wanted you to see my face before I respond in kind." Voss's expression remained neutral, though inwardly she was disturbed by the perfect Alliance standard this human spoke. "I don't know how you've accessed this channel," she replied, "but if you're contacting me to offer Earth's surrender, I accept." The human's expression didn't change. "I'm not offering surrender, Commander. I'm offering a single chance. Withdraw your forces immediately, and I will allow them to leave in peace." Despite herself, Voss laughed. "You're in no position to make demands, human. Your civilization is centuries behind ours." "That's your first mistake," Shaw responded. "Assuming Earth is what you think it is." He leaned closer to the camera. "Your second mistake was killing Elena." The transmission cut abruptly. Moments later, alarms blared throughout the shuttle. "Commander," the pilot called out, panic evident in his voice. "Our systems are failing. Navigation, propulsion, life support, everything's shutting down." Voss moved quickly to the cockpit, watching in disbelief as every system on the advanced Alliance shuttle systematically failed. The fighter escorts were similarly affected, their pilots reporting complete system failures. "Switch to emergency power," she ordered. "Activate backup systems." "They're not responding," the pilot replied. "It's as if something has rewritten our operating codes." The shuttle began to descend rapidly, no longer under control. Through the viewport, Voss could see the fighter escorts similarly plummeting. "Brace for impact," she commanded, strapping herself into a seat. But the impact never came. Instead, the shuttle slowed, then stopped, hovering impossibly in midair. Through the viewport, Voss saw the fighter escorts similarly suspended. Then, slowly, the entire convoy began moving horizontally, as if pulled by an invisible force, toward a mountain peak that opened like a massive door to reveal a hangar bay that could not exist on a primitive world like Earth. As the shuttle was drawn inside the mountain, Voss saw dozens of other Alliance craft already there, including the missing landing parties and their vehicles, all apparently intact but powered down. Teams of humans and non-humans worked efficiently around the captured equipment, many wearing uniforms and using technology Voss didn't recognize. The shuttle settled gently onto the hangar floor. Moments later, the hatch opened, revealing Nathan Shaw standing calmly outside, flanked by beings from at least 5 different species, all wearing the same insignia on their shoulders, a symbol Voss didn't recognize. "Welcome to Earth, Commander Voss," Shaw said. "I believe we have much to discuss." Across the galaxy, in the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Senate on Nexus Prime, an emergency session had been called. Reports from Earth had ceased entirely 12 hours earlier, creating growing concern among the senators. Supreme Senator Thelkon addressed the agitated assembly. "We have lost contact with Commander Voss and the Third Fleet. Our long-range sensors detect their ships are still in Earth orbit, but they are not responding to any communications." Senator Jen of the Archivists rose. "I warned this body that we needed further study before engaging with Earth. My archives contained concerning references to that world, fragmentary records suggesting it might be more than it appeared." "Impossible," Senator Mulax countered. "Our scouts confirmed their technological level. They've barely reached their own moon." The chamber doors suddenly opened, admitting Admiral Vora, long retired but still commanding respect in her ancient uniform. Behind her walked Ambassador Trell and a delegation of other retired military and diplomatic personnel. "This Senate has made a grave error," Vora announced without preamble, her voice carrying across the chamber. "You attacked Earth without knowing its true nature or history." Supreme Senator Thalkon's energy form pulsed with irritation. "Admiral Vora, you are not recognized by this chamber. This session is closed-toe." "You will want to hear what I have to say," Vora interrupted. "Because at this moment, your Third Fleet is under the control of Nathan Shaw, the human known as the Sentinel. And if you want any of those ships or personnel back, you'll listen carefully." The name meant nothing to most senators, but the implications were clear. A murmur of disbelief spread through the chamber. "Impossible," Senator Mulax repeated, but with less certainty. Vora approached the central dais. "Earth is not what you think it is. It never was." Back on Earth, Commander Voss sat across from Nathan Shaw in what appeared to be a command center far more advanced than anything in the Alliance arsenal. Through large windows, she could see her shuttle and fighters being systematically disassembled by technicians. "I don't understand," she admitted, her confidence shaken. "Our intelligence indicated Earth was pre-interstellar, barely unified politically. How is this possible?" "Your intelligence was designed to see what we wanted it to see," Nathan replied. "Earth has been under my protection for 25 years. Before that, it was protected by others." "Others?" Nathan gestured to a section of wall, which became transparent to reveal a chamber containing artifacts of clearly alien design, technology that looked both ancient and impossibly advanced. 50,000 years ago, a civilization called the Predecessors rose to dominance in this galaxy. They achieved technological heights your Alliance can barely imagine. When they faced extinction from a threat beyond the galactic rim, a small group fled here, to Earth, which was then inhabited by early humans. Voss stared at the artifacts, recognizing nothing yet instinctively understanding. She was looking at technology far beyond Alliance capabilities. The predecessors integrated with human society, sharing their knowledge selectively, guiding humanity's development from the shadows. Nathan continued. They chose Earth because scans showed humans possessed unusual adaptive capabilities and resilience, qualities the predecessors valued. And you? Voss asked. Are you one of these predecessors? Nathan shook his head. I'm human. But 25 years ago, I encountered the last living predecessor, an ancient being who had watched over humanity for millennia. She was dying and needed a successor, someone to protect Earth until humanity was ready to learn the truth and claim its inheritance. He touched a panel, bringing up holographic displays showing massive structures buried beneath Earth's oceans, within mountains, under deserts, all invisible to both human civilization and Alliance scans. The predecessor technology has been hidden on Earth for thousands of years. I am its caretaker, and I have used it sparingly, only when necessary to prevent premature discovery by either humans or outside forces. Voss's mind raced, reassessing everything she thought she knew about this mission. If you possess such technology, why keep Earth isolated? Why maintain the facade of a primitive world? Because humanity isn't ready, Nathan said simply. We're still maturing as a species, still learning to overcome our divisions and prejudices. The predecessors believed we had potential, but potential needs time to develop naturally. So I maintained the protection, allowing only trusted allies, the Watchers, to know Earth's secret. His eyes hardened. Until yesterday, when your Senate decided Earth was just another conquest, and you obliterated Bayview Cove. When you killed Elena. Voss swallowed. What happens now? Now, Nathan said, standing, I send a message to your Senate. Earth is declaring itself officially, not as a primitive world to be conquered, but as the inheritor of the predecessor legacy and under my protection. Your fleet will be returned, minus its weapons, as a gesture of good faith. But if the Alliance ever threatens Earth again, what you've seen today will seem like a minor demonstration. In the Galactic Senate chamber, Admiral Vora concluded her explanation to the stunned assembly. The human called the Sentinel has activated defenses across Earth that your fleets cannot penetrate. He has neutralized the Third Fleet without destroying a single ship or taking a single Alliance life. This was his message of restraint. Ambassador Trell stepped forward. We have received terms from Earth. They wish to establish diplomatic relations with the Alliance, not as a subject world, but as an independent power with technologies you would be wise to respect. Supreme Senator Thalcon's energy form had dimmed considerably during Vora's explanation. These claims are extraordinary. We require proof. The proof is simple, Vora replied. Your fleet will be returning shortly, all personnel unharmed, but every weapons system completely neutralized by technology your best scientists won't be able to comprehend. That should be proof enough. Senator Jen rose again. I recommend we accept these terms immediately. My archive suggests that the predecessors were not merely legend. They were real, and their technology was vast. If Earth is indeed their inheritor, we would be foolish to make an enemy of them. A vote was called. This time, the result was unanimous. The Alliance would recognize Earth's sovereignty and establish diplomatic relations. 3 months later, Nathan Shaw stood on the beach near the rebuilt town of Bayview Cove. Behind him, the community had been restored, not just as it was, but improved, with subtle integrations of predecessor technology that would gradually prepare humanity for the revelations to come. Beside him stood Drav, looking uncomfortable in Earth's sunlight. The Alliance is keeping their distance. Your message was received. Nathan nodded. And the other matter? The memorial orbiting station is complete, Drav confirmed. Elena's name is the first inscribed, but we've added all who were lost that day. It will remain in Earth orbit as a reminder, both of what was lost and what was nearly unleashed. Nathan looked out over the peaceful ocean. The rage that had driven him these past months had not disappeared, but it had been channeled, transformed into resolve. Elinda had always believed humanity had a greater destiny among the stars. Now Nathan would ensure that destiny unfolded as it should, gradually, thoughtfully, and on humanity's own terms. The Senate has appointed a permanent ambassador to Earth, Drav continued. Commander Voss, as it happens, she requested the assignment specifically. Nathan raised an eyebrow at that. Interesting choice. She said something about wanting to understand the world that humbled the Alliance. Drav explained. I think she was more affected by what she saw than she admits. Above them, barely visible in the bright sky, the glint of a new satellite marked Alina's memorial, circling the planet she had loved. Around it, the predecessor defense grid remained vigilant, now openly acknowledged by the small coalition of allies Nathan had gathered. Earth remained under his protection, but now the galaxy knew it. The Sentinel's identity was no longer a secret, and the power he safeguarded no longer hidden. Humanity would advance at its own pace, under its own direction, free from outside interference. The Galactic Alliance had made a grave error in attacking Earth. They had awakened not just one guardian, but revealed an ancient legacy that would forever change the balance of power in the galaxy. And it had all begun with their gravest mistake. They had killed Elena Shaw, and in doing so, they had forced the Sentinel to reveal Earth's true place in the cosmos.